Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Today we're going to be looking at a product from East Germany. This is the 1969 kit of a Yak-24P in 1/100 scale. It's produced by a company goes by the initials of MPKAB. That stands for Model und Plastspielwaren Kombinat Annaberg Berghaus. I'm sure I'm butchering that really good for all you German speakers out there. But what that stands for is Model and Plastic Toy Combine Annenberg Berghaus. This was a East German maker that produced kits from the late 60s to the early 70s. They had some of their own molds, this is one of those that they developed themselves. They were all in 1/100 scale with the exception of a MiG-15, which was a rebox of a VEB kit. They had a few others that were reboxes from VEB, but they did produce appears to be some of their own toolings, which when these guys ceased to exist, from what I can tell, most of those molds ended up going to VEB and then through the whole process after that. So that's a little bit about the maker. Those of you in the viewer world who've got a lot more information on this manufacturer, definitely tell us about it in the comments section. It'd be interesting to hear about it. It's hard to find some of the stuff on the former Eastern Bloc countries, but I'm sure that there's some viewers out there who've got more knowledge on this subject. So definitely let us know about that. So the subject itself, the Yak-24, started out from a September 1951 meeting with Stalin and the heads of the different aircraft manufacturers, determining what they're going to work on next. And what Stalin wanted was 2 helicopters, one a medium lift, one capable of carrying 12 persons. That resulted in the Mi-4, which we've done a video on a kit for that. The other one was for a heavy lift helicopter, being able to carry 24 persons, and that one was assigned to Yakovlev to design that. So they're required to have the prototype flying within 1 year, and when Stalin says you have something done, you get it done. So Yakovlev was able to get 2 flying and 1 ground testing model ready in that time frame, and the first one flew on 3 July 1952. It was powered by 2 Ash 82V radials, which was a common engine that they used in a lot of their fighters and bombers towards the end of World War II. A pretty powerful motor. It was a twin tandem rotor helicopter, which was very unusual for the Soviets. The shape, as you can see here, resulted in a nickname of the Flying Railroad Car. The engines were linked to be able to provide power to one or both rotors. So that was kind of unique. So if one engine went out, you still had some power going to both rotors. But the linkage system caused a lot of vibration problems that they were not able to completely solve on the aircraft. It ended up being put into production in 1955. The first production aircraft set some records for payload for helicopters. First one was 2,000 kilograms all the way up to 5,082 meters. And the second one was 4,000 kilograms up to 2,902 meters. The only production variant was the standard Yak-24, and ultimately was able to carry 19 troops and or 12 stretchers. In 1957, one of them was rebuilt to become the Yak-24U, with longer rotors and a wider fuselage. Was supposed to be able to carry 40 troops, but that resulted in no production of that particular one. There was also a Yak-24A proposed, which was a civilian variant for Aeroflot. That was, again, not produced. Yak-24K was proposed VIP 9-passenger version. And there's different stories online that the K stood for Kennedy, for some proposed plush version of it in order to be able to impress Kennedy, but more likely the K is for comfort in Russian. And finally, the Yak-24P, the subject of this kit, which was another civilian version, which was to be able to carry 39 passengers, and it had more powerful turboshaft motors on here, which interestingly, the intakes are facing each other on the top here. That one ended up not being produced as well. It was just a prototype, or not even a prototype. It was a planned idea that they made some pretty extensive models of and took to the Paris Air Show and showed off. So there are some photographs of that, which we'll get into later. It's unclear as to exactly how many were actually produced. The numbers, are somewhere between 40 and 100. More leaning probably more towards the 40 than the 100. There is one survivor at the Central Air Force Museum in Monino, Russia. And so there you have a little history of the subject matter, and let's take a look at the kit itself. So we've got some nice watercolor artwork on the cover. We've got Yak-24 with the J in German. Y would be in the English spelling of it. On this side here, we've got Hubschrauber Model Bachkosten. I think this is the word for helicopter in German. And here we've got helicopter kit, and I think this is it in a couple of different languages also. On the end, we've got Yak-24P. We've got some numbers on here. They don't match up to the kit number that's on ScaleMates. ScaleMates shows it as a kit number of 5633. None of these numbers match up to that. I believe this is the logo for MPKAB, but maybe our viewers can tell us more about that. And here's the other end. And nothing on the bottom, although there is. I think this is maybe the kit maker. Our viewers might be able to help us with that. Okay, so the box is a little tattered, but the inside is, I think, pretty complete the way that it had come. Very rough cardboard being used, but typical of mid-50s, or 50s through mid-60s kits. It has a lithograph that's been glued and folded over on a hard box. Here we have our instruction sheet. And here it lists some of the other kits that they make. And then open it up, and we've got this long fold out. Hard to see the whole thing here. So we start out with a line drawing of the aircraft with arrows pointing to all the parts. We've got a layout of all the parts, numbering on the trees, listing of all the parts, and then I'm assuming the assembly instructions. And on the back side, it has another languages. And so there you have your instructions. Now, I believe this is the way the kit came when it was originally done, so it's kind of a unique way to see it. So here's a large stand base in this kind of arrowhead-ish diamond shape. So it'd probably be sitting like that. That's kind of nice looking. Here we have front cockpit. Fairly heavy framing on it. Pretty clear. Would need to get polished up a little bit. I think it's kind of gotten dusty and maybe a little scratched up over time, but yeah, pretty nice clear piece. And this is kind of a unique thing. I believe this was silver paint, and it's still liquidy. And so, yeah, going by the box cover, yeah, if you're going to make it in this, you had silver across the bottom, some silver details here and there. So, you know, the thing is silver paint makes sense. This, I think, was probably glue. You can see some of it dried. It slides around inside there, so I think that was the glue tube. So kind of a unique way, instead of the little metal squeeze tubes, to get these little glass tubes. And they're using these cotton, kind of tufts of cotton as holders to keep stuff from sliding around inside, which I think is kind of neat. Don't see that too often. So we've got it molded in 3 colors: the white, black, and silver gray kind of, you know, plastic. So let's take a look at what we got. So we got, here's the cockpit area, which is just this bench seat with a vertical thing for a dashboard, and there's our little pilots. So they are seated, even though they kind of look like they're standing that way. They are seated. Got big giant melon heads though. And here's the rotor hubs. A little bit of detail to those. Here's the tail, molded in a white. It does have fairly heavy rivet lines. And here we have another black sprue with the blades. In reading, it was mentioning about one of the later versions was having, you know, all metal blades, and judging by the way this is molded, I think that may suggest that the blades on this may have been fabric covered. So we got some more gear parts here. Here's another silver gray stub for all the landing gear parts. And here's our other clear pieces for all the side windows. Whole mess of those. There's the vertical part of the stand. And finally, we've got the fuselage parts that have been, got a little support there. And so we've got fuselage halves. You can see why they refer to this as a rail car. It certainly looks like it. So it fits not too bad. Yeah, a little bit of filling needed around the tail there. You know, some good glue and some good rubber bands. Get a pretty tight seam on that. Not too bad. Interesting, the rivet detail does not continue across the bottom. That ends up being a smooth bottom. But overall, yeah, I think it gives a good impression for what it is. Pretty nice kit. And looks like a little bit of silver may have leaked out in there. Fortunately, this kit does not have the original decals with it. The decals, see if they were to represent The aircraft on the cover was the proposed Aeroflot one. And I was able to source some photographs of that. So let me show you those here. Okay, so the kit was reissued a few times. The first one here, of course, the 69 one from MPKAB. They did another one in 1970 with some different artwork on the cover. 1978 VEB plastic heart got an issue with different artwork as well. They did another one in 87 with, yet again, different artwork. In the 90s, Wojar, W-O-J-A-R, a Polish company, did an issue of it a couple of times with, again, unique artwork for each one. Also in the 90s, a Master Model in Germany produced another one. And finally, sometime in the 90s, a company by the name of Newbie, which is shown as a British company, did an issue of this as well, too. Again, all with unique artwork for each issue, which is kind of different. So that's about it for today on this one. If you built one of these, definitely tell us about it in the comments section. And if you got one sitting on your shelves, take some pictures of it and send it in for the next viewer build video. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching and have yourself a great rest of your day.